Hello, welcome to the Monte Man Show here in Richwood, Ohio, in the Drunken Clam. We're going to be talking about motorcycle riding, dual sport riding, and here with me today is Vince D'Agostino from Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. How you doing, Vince?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, we get started. We'll talk about some of the motorcycles that you have owned and rode over your lifetime.
Absolutely. I had to beg a lot. I got my first motorcycle when I was 12, and it put me in the hospital. I didn't wear the proper equipment, and it's been quite an adventure ever since. The older I got, the bigger they got, and meeting and riding with friends, acquaintances, and groups throughout the years has been a very great experience for me.
What was your first motorcycle, and how did you progress into bigger bikes?
Okay, well, I rode a 60cc Yamaha Mini Enduro, and I rode that probably 3 to 4 years. My next one was a 90cc. I was kind of an active part of local flat track racing, and I actually got to experience being on the track. And I shouldn't say my dad was approached about letting me ride a local shop bike, which he vehemently denied because he was there with his brother, usually on the ambulance. So they got to see all the injuries.
All the nasty.
Yes. So I never got to share that experience. But throughout the years, knowing different people, I did kind of get to sneak on to some tracks and had a great time. I really did. So I kind of have a feel for what's going on out on the track, and it's pretty exciting, really exciting.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet it's a thrill. Yeah, I grew up with a couple guys, Mike Ashton, Mark Ashton, and their father. They ran flat track. They traveled around. They were great motorcycle riders. And what's some of the other motorcycles after that? Did you get into any bigger bikes, dirt bikes?
Oh, I did. The first motorcycle I purchased was a Yamaha 250 Enduro, and pretty versatile motorcycle, dual shock design, not what motorcycles are today, but you learn to ride a machine like that. You kind of become one with the machine. When you're out trail riding, being aggressive, you learn what you see ahead of you, what that bike will do.
Right.
When you cross a log, get into the wet, at rocks, anything like that. Then probably my biggest thrill for a lot of years was getting on a four-stroke 500 Yamaha known as the XT or TT, XT having the lights. And I chose that because I could license it. So if I didn't have to necessarily look over my shoulder when I had to get from this trail to that trail on blacktop, I was legal to do it. So other than having lights, it was the same as any other dirt bike. So,
Well, just experiencing the ride we had this week. We rode 3 times, I believe it was. We had a lot of rain. We didn't get into everyday riding like we wanted to do. And we was on the road. I'm not experienced on dirt bikes.
right.
I never had the opportunity to ride them. I'm just street bikes from the time I was, 18, 17, 18 or whatever. So I don't have the experience you got. And it shows your experience when I was riding with you, it showed you're head and shoulders way above me on a motorcycle. But with that saying, what's some of the street bikes you own?
Now,
Yeah,
presently?
well, through the years and now up to present.
Well, my first motorcycle was an XS650 Yamaha. I was a big Yamaha fan, and that was a very powerful motorcycle. In today's standards, it vibrated quite a bit, kind of a buzzy ride, but it was a very dependable motorcycle. Then early in my wife and I's marriage, we decided to make a purchase. I bought a 650 Yamaha Maxim inline 4-cylinder, very smooth, very quick. But I always had this thing for the V-twin motor. I wasn't a big Harley fan at that time, but the Yamaha offered the Virago. So I ended up with a 750 Virago, and that set the tone for a lot of miles and a lot of fun, you know. The great ride. But then I did break into the Harley scene. I got an 883 Sportster, anniversary 2003, and unfortunately I was involved in an accident where a man hit me from behind from dead stop at a red light. So I did lose that bike, and I acquired an '05 FXDX, which is a Dyna frame Sport, which has the small fat tire on the front. We then acquired an '06 Sportster 1200 Custom. That's probably my favorite because it's light, it's agile, has a boatload of power, and we did acquire an '08 a dresser, you know. I'm not real big on the Harley names yet, but it's Electric Glide Ultra. Yeah.
Ultra classic,
Yes.
So one of my good friends, like a brother to me, Tracy McReynolds, he grew up, he was a Yamaha, and he loved the Yamahas.
Oh, yeah.
Just like you did. And he shared the same things you shared about the Yamahas. He really liked it. Now he's on a Harley and he's riding a Screaming Eagle Ultra. So, and well, with that said, we can get into maybe some of the dual sport riding that you do upstate Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And tell us about that, because I'm sure that's pretty exciting.
Well, to refer back to riding with friends and doing a lot of aggressive dirt bike riding, we happened to be upstate Pennsylvania, Lock Haven area, and there was signs posted for a trials event, which had nothing to do with my style, but I knew about it. So we followed it to where this was going to take place. And we ended up talking to the president of the Dirty Dabbers Motorcycle Club. And he seen we were rest to go, you know, and he suggested we run the trail that took you to the scoring areas for the trials bikes. And so we did that, and we got back, and he noticed, and he said, "You're back? Yeah. You ran that trail already? Yeah. Oh," he said, "you have to come to the dual sport," which is an AMA sanctioned event. It's not a race. It's a sanctioned fun day. It includes following speed limits. The Dirty Dabbers offer a standard course, which is basically all road, whether it be blacktop or state forest, gravel, clay type roads. Or you can veer off on alternative routes, which would offer a lot of challenges. So back then, we were up for every challenge, and
yeah.
we enjoyed every moment of that. Absolutely.
And who was you riding with?
The fella's name at that time was Terry Stump. He was my staple. I don't mean to miscoin the phrase, religiously went out on a Sunday afternoon after church, and we'd put 100 miles on in an afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
And my brother became part of that. And in the most recent years, I was helping a friend who had a pool business, and he raced motorcycles, his history and his past, and I got him on dual sport. He has a cabin up near Renova, Pennsylvania, which puts you right in the heart of all the state forest area. So we decided we could go out, have a blast, not be aggressive in the sense of rough, what's called single track, where you're on a trail.
Right.
We just, we're 60 years old. We don't want to get hurt. It's
Right.
not. I'm a little beyond the physical capability of that challenge. So we would just go out and put anywhere from 100 to 125 miles on state forest roads, and we were a little aggressive about it, and we come back with a big smile every day.
Well, let me tell you, we talked a little bit about dual sport riding. You was telling me about when you and Bob would go out, and you was telling me you would take dirt road, clay road, whatever, through curves at 60, 65 mile an hour. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And you said you're old, 60, and you don't want to hurt yourself. That's crazy. I mean, you can get hurt really bad.
There's no doubt.
But your ability.
The faster and harder you ride, when you go down, it's hard. It's hard, and it happened.
Yeah.
To me, more so than Bob. He was a freak. He'd never crash.
You said he raced. What kind of racing did he?
Flat track.
Flat track.
Flat track. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, his brother was a professional back years ago when I was just a boy. I'm going to guess maybe in the 70s. I'm not sure, but I watched his brother win Louisville, Kentucky. On Wide World of Sports.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was Bill Schaefer.
So when you, I know we kind of switched gears there, but some of the tracks that you would visit flat tracking, where would that be?
Well, the normal local venue, but then some of our street bike adventures took us to professional, which I was in Middletown, New York, Hagerstown, Maryland, Syracuse, New York, which was the only mile on the East Coast. I'm drawing a blank. It's a local track.
Yeah.
They had that there one year, and then it was terrible. They didn't accommodate the bikes at all. But you get to know some of the names, and see the talent. Case in point, my friend and we decided we're going to ride to Syracuse all on our own instead of going with this large group, and kind of a goal we set for ourselves, because now you're responsible for all the road signs and all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we just pull in, and at that time, Chris Carr, Scott Parker, they were big names, Ricky Graham, and they announced that Scott Parker was out on the mile for his time lap, and we crawled the fence in turn one to watch Scott Parker come into that turn 120 mile an hour, and he never lifted. He just went through it. That's crazy.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to dual sport again because we kind of bouncing back and forth. But if you can get back up to telling us when you go dual sport, do you go one day and back? Do you go up? And what happens during your time out?
Work constraints, back in the day when the ability was there, we would have liked to experience other dual sport, maybe in the next state or whatever, because they're all over the nation. And so work restraints didn't allow it. But what we experienced in Pennsylvania was that was a 2-day event. They would run the larger miles, which was 110 to 120 mile on Saturday. That would be followed up by some type of big barbecue, prize giving event, and then the next day they would start a little bit later and run about 80 miles. That was the Durty Dabber experience. And to mention, if you wanted to look up the Durty Dabbers, that is spelled D-U-R-T-Y, Dabbers, D-A-B-B-E-R-S.
Yeah, so they can.
Yeah.
If anybody want to look it up and get the information on it, that's how it's spelled.
Yes.
So, you said one day you'd come back and the next day what was your accommodation? You camp, hotel, or?
Yeah, anything. In our case, we camped. Not tent camped. We happened to have a camper in the upstate, so we had a place to sleep. But the one year we couldn't stay, and we met some guys that were just so intrigued by some of the things that we were doing, not to boast upon my ability, but, we had a lot of fun on the trails,
Right.
A lot of guys are straight up riders, things like that. For us, every opportunity to pull the wheel off the ground, and ride the trail on one wheel, that's what we did. So we had people begging us to stay,
Right.
Oh, we got to go to the garage, you can work on your bike, blah, 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 blah. We just couldn't stay, unfortunately.
Yeah, hopefully Jake can pull out some videos of that Durty Dabber, and he can put it on here as well, so people can find some information on that. So if anybody's looking for it, I just want to go back to I know that you lost Bob, and I ride. Not like you do, but I ride street bikes, and I lost my riding buddy, and we would put 5,000-6,000 miles on a street bike. We'd ride to Florida, we'd come back, and lost him. So I'm down to 1,500, 2,000 miles. When you lose your riding buddy, you lose your drive to go out there and run some more. So I know that I enjoyed all week you being here. We're riding. You're way over me, but I loved riding with you. And we got sunburnt. We got tore up. We dodged the rain. Got a few days in, but I just appreciate you coming, doing this show. So maybe we can get it out there, and if anybody finds it interesting, if you want to subscribe to Monte Man Show and Jake, sign up and we'll go. But thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
And we'll get it out there. Thank you, everybody.